skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster city gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
As always, the sun rises and sets. Rain falls and water flows to the seas. Conditions change, but fundamentals remain the same. Mankind's love for freedom and security endures. All history tells us this. But history also tells that liberty, freedom, and security must be fought for and defended. So for our Americas today, we all prepare to defend our American way of life. On the land, on the oceans, and in the air, our armed forces are prepared and preparing to defend the Americas. Just a few miles from the shores of South America, you see the actual scuttling and burning of the Graf Spee, German pocket battleship. War has come close to our Americas. On Plymouth Rock in 1620, our Pilgrim Fathers landed to found a land of liberty. Enduring hardships, brave, friendly, and free people united for freedom's sake. Near Boston in Faneuil Hall, cradle of liberty, they met in democratic fashion to plan a free America. From Old North Church, famous meeting place of seafaring men, Paul Revere saw the signal for his famous ride throughout the countryside to call Americans to defend their rights. Lexington, where sons of the soil became military heroes, and Captain John Parker said, "If they mean to have a war, let it begin here." And on the peaceful Concord River, embattled farmers fired the shot heard round the world. The school of Nathan Hale, modest schoolmaster, who regretted he had but one life to give for his country. While at Fort Necessity, a 22-year-old colonel named George Washington defeated the French and Indians. Every school child knows about Bunker Hill. And Colonel Prescott, who said, "Do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes." So now, as always, here in the midst of the peaceful Catskills, men are trained to preserve our peace and defend our way of life. In the heart of a country rich in historical lore stands West Point, the finest military school in all the world. But defense doesn't depend entirely on military men. Wasn't it Napoleon who said, "An army travels on its stomach"? And soldiers of the soil are at work farming this land of ours in our own American way, with the most modern mechanized machines for farming that the world has ever seen. Our American farmers are truly the most powerful mechanized army for the larder of democracy. Here is an MM tractor and unimower making hay, which will help produce milk, butter, cheese, and beef. In New York and all other states, modern machines like this can get all farm jobs done with fewer hands in less time and at lower cost. Still in New York, we see a 2-row MM cultivator and universal R tractor. And what's this they're working in? Beans, the good old standby. That's a universal American food. More beans and a Z tractor putting a 2-row cultivator to chasing weeds away on this farm near Avon, New York. Still another New York farm with an older MM tractor and MM harvester working together in perfect harmony, even after years of hard work. It pays to keep machines in good repair. And so to Pennsylvania, where this standard U brings the harvest home right in this farmer's barn. In Pennsylvania also, MM tractors and unimowers are doing their bit to make the larder of democracy secure. Five-year-old Gene Sullenberger is hauling hay with an R tractor and keeps the loader and 2 men busy. This does show how simple it is to drive an MM tractor, but we don't recommend youngsters for this job, so be careful, Gene. Older methods are still used, but the power is modern on the Henry Thrush Farm in Pennsylvania. This Harvester 69 with sacking attachment and engine drive makes a tough job easy. Look how that husky lad tosses those heavy sacks. And his choice of harvesting equipment proves he has brains as well as brawn. As long as we're so close, it would be too bad to pass up a visit to Annapolis, where the spirit of John Paul Jones hovers over this academy and gives his blessing to the future officers of our Navy. who will defend our America. Let's take a side trip and see the famous Natural Bridge in Kentucky. The bridge is a massive natural stone formation, 125 feet long, 75 feet high, and 35 feet wide, connecting two mountain ridges. The bridge is estimated to contain more than 7,500 tons of rock. Hurry up, let's thumb a ride on this blimp. This is a pigeon's eye view of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Kindly refrain from dropping banana peels on the parade grounds while we see Fort Bragg from an Army blimp. Located in the hills of North Carolina, the reservation contains 122,000 acres, and there are 55,000 of Uncle Sam's new trainees learning modern defense here. Fort Bragg is typical of the neat, clean camps throughout our land. Hay-foot, straw-foot. Pick it up, boys. These selectees are being taught to shoot straight. Let's not get too close. Instructions in life-saving and swimming are part of the necessary training for good soldiers. Brother Noah could have gotten some good ideas from these assault boats of the 15th Engineers Battalion. Bet you they're going in to get some of those beans we saw being cultivated a while ago. After the ball was over, the boys got out from under. Back to the farm. This MMR tractor is on the job with a 2-disc MM plow. North or south, you'll find modern MM machines helping to replace men needed elsewhere in our defense effort. This MMR tractor with 2-row Duchess planter is putting in cotton accurately at uniform depth. Well, that cotton grew fast. A Minneapolis-Moline tractor with 2-row cultivator keeps it clean. And now 4 rows at a time. A cultivator with fertilizer attachment taking care of 4 rows of tall cotton with a vision-lined Universal Z tractor furnishing the power. The power lift makes for easy turns and fast work. The growing of fiber is as important as food. MM engines pump water for the irrigation so essential to rice growing in Arkansas and Louisiana rice fields. Throughout the South, this is a common sight. 4-row planters on MM cultivator frames and the whole business attached to a universal U or Z tractor. Sure enough, we're at the old city gates of St. Augustine, Florida, our oldest city. And here is the oldest schoolhouse in the United States, 400 years old. The oldest house in the United States. Over it waves the 4 flags, signifying the reign of 4 different governments. The Fountain of Youth, discovered by Ponce de Leon in 1513. He was sure that somewhere in this charming land of ours he would find waters to restore his youth. Fort Marion, the oldest fort standing in the United States, was begun in 1672 and completed in 1756. If those thick walls could talk, what tales they could tell. especially this execution wall. Those bullet scars tell a story without words. Now we're at Silver Springs, near Ocala, Florida. A vision-lined lake. Note the easy operation of this streamlined diving machine, the easy turns, the power lift. And if we were speaking of farm machinery, her smooth, powerful action would remind us of high-compression tractors. Here's the world's largest tangerine grove near Orlando, Florida. And now we're picking Florida oranges nearby. The dress may date back to before the war between the states, but the girl in it is as up to the minute as a Prairie Gold tractor working in the orange groves and vegetable fields of Florida. Miami, 2 million visitors a year, a busy metropolis the year round. Miami Beach, the winter capital of many Americans. A noted editor said, Miami is the new boundary line between North and South America. A great fleet of giant clippers carry 50,000 air passengers a year to and from Latin America. Here's one, home from a southern neighbor. We're on the road again, and from the looks of the traffic, we're near another Army camp. Must be Camp Shelby, because we are near Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Jeeps, blitz buggies, they have many different names. Some call them bouncing sardine cans on wheels. Hills and dales all look alike to them, and they get a lot of our soldiers where they want to go in a hurry. Guns should be heard, but not seen. So they hide them in the bushes and make them look like what they're not. Wonder what this fellow is saying. Hope he isn't calling us names. Looks like the bushes are exploding. But here, American soldiers are trained to be the best marksmen in the world. The entrance to Camp Shelby, the second largest Army camp in the land, where 52,000 men are undergoing intensive training for the defense of this land of liberty. The boys on these bouncing bicycles are messengers, and more than that. They must be able to ride through any kind of country, no matter how rough or tough. One, two, touch your toes with your nose. Uncle Sam's soldiers keep in tip-top shape. The magic carpet of film makes it possible to cover great distances in a short time. we're traveling northward on the Mississippi. On a side trip to New Salem Village in Illinois, we see it restored as it was when a gangling youth named Abraham Lincoln ran a general store and dreamed dreams that were to have a tremendous influence on our American ways. Here, Lincoln met Anne Rutledge, his first sweetheart, and though she died here before young Lincoln left the village, her influence on him was profound. There's the store Lincoln operated. Today, as always, young rural boys are pioneering progress. Here, a 12-year-old boy proves that a Z tractor is easy to operate. Plowing is surely the groundwork of defense. In Ohio, a U tractor with a 4-row check planter puts the corn in accurately at uniform depth. Manure helps keep the land fertile. This Moline spreader, an tractor with cab, makes a usually unpleasant job easy. Corn is a fundamental defense crop. This Model D corn sheller gets the corn off the cobs in a business-like manner, up to 300 bushels an hour. Over in Indiana, we find an R tractor with a 2-row cultivator pepping up a field of sorghum. Keeping the weeds out saves the plant food for the crop. On the same farm, a Harvester 69 is bringing home the wheat. Once over and it's all over. Sure saves time and money. Notice the caressing action of this hay loader. Its gentle action saves the fine, valuable leaves for feed. Here on the Taylor farm in Indiana, 2 R tractors and 69 harvesters are harvesting a real wheat crop. Economical production of food with less help is an essential part of our defense program. This Z tractor and Harvester 69 are harvesting oats. The Harvester 69 gets the harvest done on time. It may wind up at the bowl game or at the circus, but this popcorn is getting a good start. This 4-row cultivator and tractor keep it clean. It's not good business to have an extra passenger on a tractor, but since the crop is popcorn, we'll probably have to excuse this boy's hitchhiking. From Indiana to Michigan farmland. Here, a Universal U tractor and a Harvester 69 are harvesting wheat on the Abrams farm at Climax, Michigan, near the place where the world's first combine was used. You don't have to have tabletop land for machinery. Look at this tractor and Harvester 69 working like billy goats in hilly oats. Here at Climax is the monument to Hiram Moore, who in 1838 successfully operated the first combine. Later models were shipped around the Horn to California to harvest crops on the West Coast. Climax also was where the first rural free delivery mail route was inaugurated. Another Michigan farm and another Harvester 69. Here we are with a Universal R cultivating potatoes, a favorite food of Both sides straighten out before this combination of Universal R tractor and an MM harvester. This MM spreader, powered by hay burners, spreads marl quickly and evenly. For easy loading, it's the lowest spreader built, and 2 horses easily pull it. Michigan celery is famous food. MM machines help it get to your table fresh and good. This wildlife research station and waterfowl sanctuary was given to Michigan State College by W Kellogg, famous processor of farm cereals. Professor Swan is giving submarine lessons. Michigan, too, has its scenic beauty spots. This one is on the St. Joseph River. Across Lake Michigan to Wisconsin and Illinois, 2 contented cows calmly doing their bit in the national defense effort. Vision-lined MM tractors and Moline monitor drills make putting the seed in accurately at uniform depth an easy matter. In Illinois, at Rochelle and DeKalb, we find men of the California Packing Corporation harvesting peas. These peas will be canned and sold under the famous Del Monte trademark. These folks own over 270 MM tractors. Many of them shown here have been on the job day in and day out for years. And here are the peas, sweet and tender, whole and unbruised. MM tractors go at just the right speed for the loaders without slipping the clutch or stopping. Peas must be harvested at precisely the right time or quality would be reduced and the loss tremendous. That's why dependable MM power is used. This Universal R belongs to the Del Monte fleet and is cultivating baby lima beans, 4 rows at a time. Still on the Del Monte farms. This may look like another cultivator at work, but it is actually one of the first steps in making pumpkin pies. It's a field of pumpkins. Without bees, there would be no pumpkins. Bees make honey too, but because they carry pollen from plant to plant, 60 to 70 tons of pumpkins per acre are produced. Between Del Monte farms, we meet this Angus bull, owned by the Pierce farms, and he's a national champion. 2 more MM tractors of the California Packing Corporation's fleet doing a very tidy job of housekeeping in sweet corn with 4-row cultivators. All these tractors belong to the world's largest farm fleet of over 270. Since 1919, the favorite of these men who produce fine Del Monte foods for your table. Individual farmers know of the record of the world's largest tractor fleet and the performance of MM tractors everywhere. So here's a man with a Z tractor with a field in which we can't find a weed. There's nothing corny about the way this MM corn sheller is shelling 1,300 bushels an hour. If we could only grow it as fast as this outfit can shell it. Corn is a fundamental food, and this new MM Model E sheller is a fundamental machine in getting it on the market. Easy to get from job to job. Near Nashua, Iowa.
There's a church in the valley by the wildwood, no lovelier spot in the dale. No place is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the vale.
This MM wide-cut harrow gets a lot of ground ready for a crop in a single day. It's angled and straightened, folded and unfolded by tractor power. An Iowa scene wouldn't be an Iowa scene without corn. This is a universal U tractor and 4-row cultivator trimming the weeds out. Yes, another fleet of MM tractors. Here are the Fitzloff boys at Spencer, Iowa, with 3 MM tractors, cultivating corn and taking the weeds out of their potatoes in stride. On to Minnesota. No, that's not a silo. It's the famous old round tower at Fort Snelling near the Twin Cities. Headquarters at Fort Snelling, one of the most scenic Army posts in all North America. Trainees from all over the Middle West come to Fort Snelling to become good soldiers. Some of their activities look different and interesting. Now, if you'll just remain seated, we'll have the boys put on a review for you, with generals and colonels and everything necessary to the conduct of a proper review. MM structural steel for hangars and MM tractors are important to many phases of our defense activities. MM tractors serve the Army and Navy on many jobs. These huge birds are the eyes of the Navy. At Wool Chamberlain Field near Minneapolis, the Navy has an air base and training field for the defense of America. These fledglings for Uncle Sam are being inspected. Many of the boys are getting their first flying lessons here. Speed racing on a lake near Minneapolis. In the heart of Minneapolis, Lake Calhoun sailors are doing their stuff in sailboats. From most every state in the Union, they come to Minnesota each year to fish. They catch them too, but there always seems to be plenty left for the next fellow. fishermen and more fish. This goes on, and no one ever seems to tire of it. There's a nice catch. Young America never changes. Give an American boy a pole, some string, and bent pin, and he'll get fish. Think he won't? What kind of fishing do you prefer? You can have most any variety in Minnesota. We're way up north in Superior National Forest now, on Knife River. Over 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, and fish for all in every lake. This must be what a fisherman expects heaven to be like. Northern Minnesota produces most of America's iron ore. Here's the raw material for tractors and tanks, corn shellers and cannons, battleships and beat tools. Few places in the world match the rugged beauty of the North Shore of Lake Superior. Duluth, the Zenith City, made famous by Proctor Knott as one of the finest and busiest harbors in the world. Here, Minnesota's iron ore starts by boat for eastern steel mills. In Minneapolis, at the automotive plant of Minneapolis-Moline, tractors are being loaded for shipment to all corners of the Americas and the world. Jeeps are becoming familiar to Army men all over the United States. They go where they are pointed, and nothing seems to stop them. Over stumps and over rocks they go. And water hazards constitute no hazard at all. It's hay time in Minnesota, tedding hay. Now, this combination tedder and side delivery rake is gently forming windrows. And now, a Minneapolis-Moline hay loader carefully lifts the crop and gently puts it on the rack for feed for sheep and cattle. Indirectly, hay is food for us all. For hillside plowing, to prevent erosion, a two-way plow like this does its part to preserve our land. Cross-cultivating corn with a two-row cultivator and universal R tractor. Machinery like this combs the weeds out of the fields with ease. This isn't a race between tractors. They're just smoothing the racetrack at the Minnesota State Fair. Times change and the world moves on, but a horse race is still a horse race. Lives there a man with soul so dead who ne'er to himself has said, "Come on, lightnin'." In Memorial Stadium at the University of Minnesota, 55,000 football fans watch Minnesota play a Big Ten opponent. The Golden Gophers, the football team that has made winning a habit. back in the field again. Notice the recleaner attachment on this Harvester 69, operating on the hillsides along the Mississippi near Red Wing, Minnesota. MM introduced tractors to burn butane gas to save money for farmers. This Universal U is cooperating with a 2-row MM Husker. A Universal U tractor burning butane and pulling a 4-disc MM plow. A good job. For smaller acreages, an ideal arrangement is a Universal R tractor and a 1-row MM corn husker. Take an R tractor, attach a 4-row beet and bean planter, and a delicate job is done quickly and well. Another dependable combination, a Minneapolis-Moline Z tractor and a 6-row beet and bean planter at work in the Red River Valley of the North. Into the beet fields of North Dakota, where an R tractor with single front wheel teams up with a 2-row MM beet puller. Rugby, North Dakota, this monument marks the geographical center of North America. Beloved Theodore Roosevelt ranched in his younger days, his good old rough riding days.